All right, hello everyone. It has been a while since I've been able to play Marvel Champions at all, let alone record a video. Lots of reasons for that. First of all, Iceman was the next one in alphabetical order. I already had him in alphabetical order, even though he hadn't technically officially come out yet. The last time I recorded the video, he came out just a couple days later, and I was able to pick him up. And so I had to wait for him to come out, and then I wanted to be able to play him a few times before I recorded the video, since he was a new character that I hadn't played yet. Try to learn kind of how he works and all that. And then last week was the last week of school for me. I'm a teacher. Last week was the last week of school, so it was kind of crazy. And then we were out of town all weekend this last weekend, and we are actually going to be moving, so we're trying to figure all that out. It's just been a lot going on. So it'll be nice to just sit and play a game for a little bit today. So today our game is going to be Iceman, which is the most recent release for the game. He just came out. And he is going to be an aggression character, packaged as an aggression character to start with. And his whole thing is he's going to be freezing people, obviously. So he comes with this card called Frostbite, and he comes with 6 copies of that. And he's got multiple ways to attach it. The primary way he's going to do that is whenever he makes a basic attack or defense, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. What Frostbite does is it's going to give that enemy -1 to both of their stats, so -1 scheme and -1 attack. And then the next time that enemy would activate, Frostbite is removed. So he's just going to kind of slow them down a little bit with that. And then on his alter ego side, he's got an ability where he can put in a card that has the ice keyword from his discard pile shuffled back into his deck for each copy of Frostbite that's in play. So he could attach a few copies of Frostbite and then flip down to alter ego form, and then that's where he would take cards from his discard pile and shuffle them back into his deck. That requires him to have played some copies of Frostbite before that happens, but that's what he does on his alter ego side. Okay, what we're going to be doing for our villain today is we are going to be doing the mansion attack scenario, which is going to be the Mutant Brotherhood is attacking the X mansion. And so the way that works is there's a stack of 4 villains here, and you just shuffle them and put one on top to be your starting villain. So we're starting with Pyro, and he starts with tough, and then he's got the victory keyword. So if we defeat him, he will not go back into the pile. He'll get set off and to the side in the victory display, so we won't have to deal with him again. And then his ability says, after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. So that's the villain we're going to be starting with. And then we have an environment in play called Save the School. It says, after the villain is defeated, if there are X villains in the victory display, the players win the game. We're going to be playing on standard mode, so we're just going to need to defeat 2 of the villains, just like we would normally. Normally, you fight against 1 villain and you defeat them in 2 different stages. In the case of this scenario, instead of defeating the same villain 2 different times, we're just going to try to defeat 2 villains. So once we've defeated 2 of the villains, then we will win. And then throughout the game, they might have ways to swap in and out. So we might have 1 villain come in and then another one swap in and things like that. Our main scheme says, the Brotherhood strikes. It says, when revealed, deal each player a face down encounter card. So we'll take that. And then it says, advance to the next main scheme and add this card to the victory display. So just like there's 4 villains, there's also 4 main schemes that we have shuffled underneath this top one, and I don't know which one is next because I shuffled without looking. So we've got Pyro as our random villain at the beginning, and then we've also got a different side scheme at the beginning, or main scheme at the beginning each time as well. So we're going to go ahead and take the Brotherhood Strikes and set that off to the side, and we revealed Attack on Xavier's. It says, when revealed, flip this card. So we're just going to flip it over. All right, and it says Pyro is specifically attacking the basketball court. It says each ally and minion gains toughness. So if any allies come into play from my hand, they will come in with a tough card. And if any minions come into play from the encounter deck, they will come into play with a tough card while this stage is in play. Then it says, when completed, add this scheme to the victory display, advance to the next one. If there are 3 main schemes in the victory display, the players lose the game. And so there's already one because the setup main scheme is technically in the victory display. So if they're able to complete 2 main schemes, we lose. If I'm able to defeat 2 of the villains, we win, so on and so forth. This main scheme, the basketball court, starts with 1 per player threat on it. So it's going to start with 1 threat. And then I think everything else we are good to go. I think we are able to go ahead and start. So let's take a look at my starting hand here. He's got a hand size of 6 as normal in Alter Ego form. So we've got the Power in All of Us, which, as you'll see here in a second, isn't super useful in this hand right now. Power in All of Us is going to count as 2 resources if I'm paying for a basic card, the gray cards, and I don't have any in my hand right now. I got Suppressing Fire. I got 2 copies of that. I can attach it to a minion. Again, not super useful right now. When you attack and defeat the attached minion, heal 2 damage from your hero. I've got a player side scheme, which says, when defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an attack event and add it to their hand. Until the end of the phase, each attack event deals 1 additional damage. I've got Chill Out, remove 3 threat from a scheme. Attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to an enemy. So that might be my play for this turn, is to play this side scheme and then remove threat from it. Because then I would immediately finish it. I might not want to immediately finish it, though, because I wouldn't have any attack events in my hand and discard pile that I'd really care about. So I might end up just playing Frozen Solid. So Frozen Solid says, it can only be played in hero form, attached to an enemy. Max 1 per enemy. When attached enemy would activate, discard Frozen Solid instead. So it is basically a stun and a confuse, because it is when an enemy would activate, discard Frozen Solid instead. So it's not attack or scheme, it's activate period. So it completely turns off one of their activations. And then after that, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. So this is kind of similar to Spider-Man had a webbed up card that does a similar thing, where it basically completely cancels an activation and then has another ability after that as well. So this is going to be a pretty good ability as well. So I think I'm still going to probably want to put the side scheme in play just to have it in play. So I'm going to set that over here. So I'm going to play Keep Up the Pressure, and that card is free. So I'm just going to put 2 threat on that. And then eventually I'll be able to pull an attack event out of my discard pile when I want to. There's nothing else I can really do in Alter Ego form, so I'm going to go ahead and flip over to hero form. And then when he makes a basic attack or defense against an enemy, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and do a basic attack, which is going to get rid of his tough, and attach a copy of Frostbite to him. I'm just going to set it here. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. Okay, and then I am going to go ahead and I'm going to play Frozen Solid. So I need to spend 3 resources. So I'm going to keep Chill Out just because he's not super good at thwarting, so I want to keep any thwart cards that I have available. So I'm going to spend my 2 Suppressing Fires and the Power in All of Us as 3 resources to attach Frozen Solid. And then I'm going to hold on to Chill Out, and then his hero form hand size is the standard 5, so I'm going to hold on to Chill Out and draw 4 cards and ready him, and then we'll move on to the villain turn. Okay, so draw 4 cards. Okay, bunch of 2-cost cards. All right, so I got Recuperation, which we saw when we played with the Hawkeye deck. he has this card. They reprinted a bunch of cards with X-Men art instead of the original Avengers art. So the abilities are all the same, but they changed some of the art. So this one says heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery, so you can heal without having to tap. Team building exercise is going to be really good. I'm going to want to play at least one of these. So it lets you play a card from your hand that shares a trait with your hero, reducing its cost by 1. So like his traits are Ice and X-Men, so I could play Chill Out. Since it has Ice, I would be able to play it for 1 less and pay 2 instead. Or I could play Shark Girl. She's got the X-Men trait, so I could play her for 1 resource instead of 2. So team building exercise is really good. That's another one that is an older card that they reprinted with X-Men art. Shark Girl is an ally, and she says, I can't talk. While Shark Girl is attacking, she gets +1 for each upgrade attached to that enemy. Dang, that would have been nice to have right now. Okay, she would have been able to attack Pyro for 4. Jeez. Okay, and then I held on to the Chill Out from my previous hand. Okay, so then at the beginning of Pyro's turn, he's going to gain his threat for his turn, which is +1 per player, so he's going to get 1 threat. And then he would be attacking against me. So his attack is going to be canceled by Frozen Solid. It says when the enemy would activate, discard Frozen Solid instead. So that's going to go to my discard pile. And then attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. So he's got 2 now. And then he didn't actually activate because it was completely canceled by Frozen Solid. So Frostbite says after attached enemy it activates or leaves play, set this card aside. So he didn't activate. It was completely canceled because of Frozen Solid. So he just has 2 Frostbites now. So the next time he does activate, he will have a -2 to his stats. Okay, then I'm going to have to deal with 2 encounter cards this round because of getting that extra one from the very beginning. So I'm going to have 2. All right, my first one is, this is perfect for me to explain the game that we're playing today. So the scenario normally requires 1 modular encounter set. You normally use the Mystique encounter set, but in alphabetical order, Galactic Artifacts was next. So this is the encounter set that was with the Collector from the Guardians campaign. So this will come into play with 3 + 2, so 5 threat. And while it's in play, all boost cards are +1 basically. And then when we defeat it, we can draw 2 cards. So we're going to set that over here with our other side scheme. And then our next encounter is also from the Galactic Artifacts. Attached to the enemy with the lowest scheme. We only have 1 enemy in play, so it's going to go on to Pyro. It's going to make us draw an extra encounter card each round while it's in play, and we can spend 3 yellow energy resources to discard this card. Okay. That's going to be frustrating. All right. So let's see what we can do here. Well, we're definitely going to want to do Chill Out now. To remove some threat, I think. I'm going to have to put a team building exercise into play. So I'm going to use Recuperation plus a team building exercise to play a team building exercise. And then I am going to use that team building exercise and play... Ooh, man, I really want to play Shark Girl, but I think I might hold on to her till next turn. So I'm going to do Chill Out, remove 3 threat from a scheme. Well, no, if I do Shark Girl now, she would attack for 4. If I wait till later, then all of those frostbites will get detached because he'll activate. So I think I'm going to go ahead and discard Chill Out as the second resource plus the one from team building exercise to play Shark Girl. And she has, while she is attacking an enemy, she gets +1 for each upgrade attached to that enemy. So I am going to first do a basic attack with Iceman, because when he does a basic attack, he will attach another copy of Frostbite. So I am going to attack him for 2 with Iceman. And then Pyro now has 3 Frostbites attached to him, so Shark Girl is going to attack for 5 and take a consequential damage. So that'll knock him down to 7. And then I think that's going to be pretty much it for that turn, because I used all my cards and I can't do anything else. So we're going to go ahead and ready everything and draw a new hand of 5 cards. Okay, so we got another copy of Recuperation, we got another copy of Suppressing Fire, another ally, we got Glob. Play only if your identity has the X-Men trait. After Glob enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached. We got another copy of Frozen Solid. And then we got a big attack event, Ice Blast. Choose a player. Attach set-aside copy of Frostbite to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Deal 3 damage to each enemy with a copy of Frostbite attached. So that might be the one that we want to finish, keep up the pressure for, to go back and get that one. Although that's not actually an attack event, it's just an action. It's an, oh, okay, so that's not actually an attack event because it doesn't have the attack keyword in it. So we wouldn't even be able to go get this one anyway. Okay. All right, so then it is going to be Pyro's turn, and he is going to get his 1 threat. This is the first thing he's going to get. Then he is going to attack me for 0. Plus a boost card, and that boost card is going to have a +1 boost icon on it, but then it's going to be reduced by 3 because he has 3 copies of Frostbite on him. So I am not going to defend this because it's going to be a -2 attack, basically, because it's 0 + 1 is 1, -3 is -2. So even if he gets like 4 boost icons on his boost card, he's not going to hit me for very hard. So I am not going to defend this attack. He's going to attack me for 0. -3 is -3. +2 is -1. +1 from the boost card over here is 0. It just happened to be his minion card is the one that he attacked me with. That's funny. So he hits me for exactly 0 with all the copies of Frostbite. And then all of those detach all at once because they all have the same triggering response. So after the enemy attacks, or after the enemy activates or leaves play, set this card aside. So all 3 of those are going to go away. Then after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. So I have to take top 2 cards of my deck, have 2 resources on them, so I have to take 2 indirect damage. So I could give 1 of that to Shark Girl. I would not be allowed to give her both of it. Since it's indirect damage, I can't give her excess damage. I can give her damage that would kill her. I just can't give her excess. So I could give her 1 and give myself 1, but I'm just going to take both because she's going to be more useful to me to deal some damage rather than just taking 1 damage. Okay, and then just like last round, I have to deal with 2 encounter cards because of the attachment that he has over here. So my first encounter card is Immovable. When revealed, Blob activates against you. If he is not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Blob minion and reveal him. Okay, well, we have not seen him yet, so we're going to go into the deck and find him. Okay, so the Blob minion says he has guard, so he cannot attack Pyro while he's in play. After he attacks and damages a character, stun that character. Okay. And then we'll shuffle the deck. And then we have to deal with 1 more encounter. Okay, second encounter is another galactic artifact attached to the enemy with the highest scheme. So that's going to be Pyro again, and it's another boost icon. And this one to get rid of, we have to place 2 threat on the main scheme and spend 2 resources of the same type. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, so we are going to play Suppressing Fire, and we're going to attach that to Blob because we're going to have to attack him anyway. Since he has guard, we're going to have to get rid of him before we can attack Pyro. And so it says attach to a minion, and then when you attack and defeat the minion, heal 2 damage from your hero. And oh, you know what? I did forget. Shark Girl should have come in with a tough, so she should not have taken that consequential damage. And then Blob should also be coming in with a tough, and that's coming from the basketball court main scheme. Okay, let's see. We are going to do a basic attack of 2 with Iceman on Blob to get rid of his tough. And that's going to attach a copy of Frostbite to him. And then we are going to spend team building exercise as 1 resource plus 2 more resources from my hand to play Ice Blast. Choose a player, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. So I'm going to attach a copy of Frostbite to Pyro and a copy of Frostbite to Blob. Then deal 3 damage to each enemy with a copy of Frostbite attached. This 3 damage is going to go through to both Blob and Pyro, because even though I'm not allowed to attack Pyro while I have a guard minion in front of me, this is not actually an attack. It just says deal damage. So I'm allowed to deal that damage to both of them. Then we are going to you know what? Attaching Suppressing Fire is actually kind of useless because I needed to use Iceman's basic attack to get to get rid of his tough, but Suppressing Fire says when you attack and defeat attached minion, heal 2 damage from your hero. But I'm gonna end up needing to actually attack him with Shark Girl, and that's not going to count. So I'm actually just going to hold on to that. I'm just going to pull that back. And Shark Girl is going to attack Blob for 2 plus 2, since he has 2 copies of Frostbite attached to him. So she's going to attack him for 4, which is going to be enough to kill him. So Blob is going to go away. And then these 2 copies of Frostbite that were attached to him are also going to go away. And then Shark Girl needs to take a consequential damage. Okay. And then I can't play either of these cards. Suppressing Fire, there's no minions left in play. And then Frozen Solid, I don't have enough resources to pay for. So that should be it for that turn. So we're going to go ahead and ready everything. You know what? I think I'm going to get rid of one of his side attachments. So this says for the Blazer, it says place 2 threat on the main scheme and spend 2 resources of the same type. Since I happen to have 2 blue resources left over, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I really don't want to get rid of Frozen Solid, but I need to get rid of some of this stuff that he's building up. So we're going to place 2 threat on the main scheme and discard those 2 blue resources to get rid of that card here. So the main scheme is at 3. It's going to go up to 5. And he's going to finish that main scheme soon, which is unfortunate. That's one thing I have noticed with Iceman so far is that he is really bad at thwarting. He's got a couple cards that can do it, but his focus is definitely attacking and defending. And this is only the second game I've played with him as a solo game. I played a few games with him as a two-player game, and he was a little bit more useful, obviously, because the other player was able to do some thwarting. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so I need a whole new hand because I used all 5 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll see what we get. So we got Looking for Trouble. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Put that minion into play engaged with you. Remove 3 threat from the main scheme. We got a Chill Out, which is remove threat. Ice Slide. Iceman gets +1 to all of his stats and gains the aerial trait. After he changes to alter ego form, shuffle this card into your deck. Another recuperation. And then we got Ice Wall, which is when an identity would take any amount of damage from an enemy attack, place that damage here instead. Then if there is at least 8 damage here, discard this card and attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to the enemy that just attacked. So just a giant shield that he can put in front of. In a multiplayer game, this would be able to prevent damage from the entire team because it's when an identity would take any amount of damage. Playing solo, obviously, it's just going to prevent 8 damage to Iceman if I were to play it. Okay, so that is my new hand, and then we need to do Pyro's turn. So he is going to gain 1 threat on the main scheme, and then he is going to attack me. And I am going to... He's going to attack me for 0, +1 from the side scheme over here, plus a boost card, plus he's going to deal indirect damage to me after he attacks me. So I think I'm going to defend it. So I'm going to defend for 2. When I defend, I attach a copy of Frostbite, which will take a place immediately. So he's attacking me for 1 less. So he's going to attack me for -1 is his original number. -1 plus 2 is 1 plus the extra boost from over here. He's attacking me for 2. I defend for 2, so I take 0. Then Frostbite goes away. And then I have to do his ability where I have to discard the top 2 cards of my deck. I got 2 resources, so I take 2 damage. Down to 7. And again, I could have given 1 of that damage to Shark Girl, but I'm trying to save her to attack with. Okay, and then again, I have to deal with 2 encounter cards again. All right, 2 encounter cards. First one is My Obligation. After you attach a Frostbite upgrade to an enemy, take 1 damage. Alter Ego response, after you make a basic recovery, discard this card. So I have this in play until the next time I am able to heal Iceman with a basic recovery, and anytime I attach Frostbite, I have to take a damage. Ouch. That's not fun. I actually haven't had his obligation come out yet in the few times I've played the game. That's a mean one. Okay, so we're going to set that there. Set that there. All right, that's my first encounter. Second encounter is Groundswell. When revealed, Avalanche activates against you. If he's not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Avalanche minion and reveal him. And again, I don't think we've seen him yet, so I'll go in the deck and find him. All right, so we've got Avalanche. After Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control. And because of the basketball court, he comes in with a tough card. Thankfully, he doesn't have guard like Blob did, so we don't have to attack him, but he's got 3 attack, and he has exhaust a character when he attacks you, so we're probably going to want to get rid of him first, even though we don't have to. Okay. So then it is back to my turn. All right, so this might end up not being a very good round. All right, well, I'm going to end up changing to alter ego form this round, so I think I'm going to use Ice Slide as a resource, because if I play it, it's just going to get shuffled into my deck anyway after I change to alter ego form. So I'm going to use that as a resource, and I'm going to use Team Building Exercise as a second resource to play Chill Out and remove 3 threat from a scheme. And I think I'm going to... I have a feeling that even if I remove it from the main scheme, he's going to get there anyway because he's at 6. So if I knock it down to 3, all he has to do is gain 4, and he's pretty much guaranteed to do that. So I think I'm going to remove 3 from one of the 2 side schemes. I need to check my discard pile and see if there's an attack event that's worth getting. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't have a single attack event in my discard pile right now. So I think I'm going to remove the 3 from the Philosopher's Stone just to try to get rid of that extra boost icon that he's got. And then the last part of it, Chill Out, says to attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to an enemy. And I'm going to attach that to Avalanche. And whenever I attach a Frostbite upgrade to an enemy, I have to take a damage because of my obligation. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip to alter ego form. And then since I flipped to alter ego form, I can shuffle 1 card with the ice keyword back into my deck from my discard pile because there's 1 copy of Frostbite attached right now. So I'm going to look for a card with the ice keyword and shuffle it back into my deck, which is going to be quite a few options since most of his cards have that, or most of his hero-specific cards at least. I think I'm going to do Frozen Solid because if I remember right, I think there's only 2 copies of that, and I've already seen both, and it's a pretty good card. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle that one of those copies of Frozen Solid back in. Okay, then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend these 2 resources to play Recuperation to heal damage from my alter ego equal to my recovery, and that'll heal me up to 10. And then I could attack with Shark Girl. She would attack Pyro for 2, or she would attack Avalanche for 3, but it would all go away because of the tough. I think I'm just going to save her. Yeah, I think I'm just going to save her. Okay, so I'm going to ready all of my cards. And now my hand size is 6 since I went to alter ego form. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I got Looking for Trouble. I got a Snow Clone ally. It cannot have upgrades attached to it. It gets -1 consequential damage if it attacks an enemy with Frostbite attached. Okay, another copy of Chill Out. Got another copy of Snow Clone. Arctic Attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to it. Or, if an enemy already has Frostbite attached, deal 6 damage to it instead. And then I got a team building exercise. Okay. So then it is going to be Pyro's turn, and he is immediately going to complete his scheme because he gets +1 threat. And so we're going to go on to the next one. All right, this one says when revealed, flip this card. So we are attacking the courtyard now. All right, it says each character gets +1 attack. So all allies, all minions, all villains, everybody gets +1 attack. When completed, add this scheme to the victory display and advance to the next one. However, we wouldn't. If he completes this one, we're just going to lose. Okay, so that means his attack is immediately increased. So he's going to attack me for 1 plus a boost card. Or no, he's scheming, sorry. Since I'm in alter ego form, he's scheming. So his attack is not affected right now. So he's scheming for 2 plus a boost card, which is 1. If the villain is Pyro, give him an additional boost card for this activation. Okay. Oh my god, seriously? Okay. We got the same card twice in a row. Oh my gosh. So he just schemed for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He just won in one scheme. Okay. Oh man, this game sometimes. All right, well, I thought I was going to have a chance. I wasn't expecting him to go through an entire scheme in one card. Holy crap. That was crazy. All right, well, cool. You still got to see kind of how Iceman works and all that kind of stuff. So that was crazy. I could not believe he just schemed for 6 in one. Oh my goodness, that was nuts. All right, well, it's the way it goes sometimes with this game. All right, so that's a loss. Our next game will be another mutant minion, Master Mold, or mutant villain, I mean, not minion. Master Mold will be the next villain we go against, and we will be fighting against Master Mold with Iron Man. Hey, that works out really well. We're fighting against a sentient sentinel robot with Iron Man. That's kind of fun. So that'll be our next game. Will be Iron Man versus Master Mold. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll have Ironheart versus Mojo. And then after that, in alphabetical order, would be Jubilee, which she is not out yet. And she will not be out until like the middle of July. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably just skip her in the order and I'll come back to her. I'll make sure I keep the pairing of her with the alphabetical villain that she's supposed to go against. And then I'll just skip her in the order. That way we're not just sitting here waiting for 6 weeks for her to come out. A lot of her cards have been revealed, so I might be able to put her deck together like I might be able to print it out and try it, but we'll see what happens. So we've got a few games to go before we get to that problem, so we'll see what happens then. Yeah, that was Iceman. I really like Iceman. He's really fun. He has got a lot of potential, but he is really weak to threat, as you just saw. I mean, every hero would have been weak to threat in that particular situation when he schemed for 6 threat in one scheme. Like, that doesn't happen very often. So even if I was playing a thwart heavy character, that might have still happened. So that wasn't necessarily his fault, but he is fairly weak to villains that thwart scheme a lot. So, but anyway, that was Iceman versus the Mutant Brotherhood. So we'll be doing Iron Man versus Master Mold next time. All right. Thanks, guys.